You're listening to MMA Oddsbreaker. I'm Frank Trigg, and on the other side of the line tonight, we have Keoni Koch getting ready to fight Brian Ortega, coming up here in RFA 12, which is one of two organizations, the RFA is, that seems to put everybody from the minor leagues to the big leagues of the UFC. Keoni, how you doing, bud?
Feeling good. Feeling great.
What is the newest challenge now coming into the RFA? You fought a couple different organizations before, Mainstream, XFO, RCC. I mean, you've kind of been all over the map a little bit, fighting up in the Midwest. Now
Yeah.
you signed up with RFA, and they seem to take their best guys seem to get absorbed and picked up by the UFC. Was that one of
Yeah.
your decisions to go ahead and sign with the RFA?
Yeah, that's absolutely the reason that I signed with them. They're a top-notch organization. We all know that the UFC right now is at the top of the heap, and the RFA I consider is kind of knocking on the door to getting into the big show. So I've watched a lot of the champions that they've produced, and a lot of the higher level talent that they've produced go right into the UFC and be successful. So I haven't fought on a bigger show yet, and I would consider this obviously my stiffest competition, but I think that this is a great, stepping stone for me to get into the UFC. That isn't necessarily to say that I expect to get into the UFC right away. I think the UFC would like that because my brother competes there, and it's a good marketing angle. But I think based on what I've seen historically, it's a really good opportunity.
Well, yeah. Plus, you're in a weight class that they need a lot more bodies. They need to build a little bit more depth at your weight class, and that obviously too makes it a lot different because they're looking at you. If there was an 85 pounder or a 70 pounder fighting for the RFA, it's going to be very difficult for them to make a jump in at 5-0. It might be not until they're 9-0 or 10-0 before they make that swing.
Right.
But I can see them trying to pick you up. If you hit 8-0, 9-0, I can see them trying to swing and grab you from RFA very quickly.
Yeah. And if I have to defend, if I won this title and had to defend it once or twice, I'm fine with that. This fight mission that I'm kind of on, this 2 or 3 year, run where I'm really trying to put everything into it and see how far I can go is more about my own goals than it is about where I'm fighting. So, I just want to see what I'm capable of and fight at a high level and be tested by the top level athletes. And that's why I came to the RFA, and I hope it leads me to the UFC. But if I have to defend my belt, once or twice, should that be the case, I'll be perfectly fine with that. It doesn't matter where I end up.
Well, you're 5-0, and your opponent, Brian Ortega, is 7-0. So one of you guys is coming out of there with a loss. But what does Brian bring that you haven't seen yet in any one of your other 5 opponents?
He brings the strongest jiu-jitsu game up to this point. I think that's pretty obvious. I fought some wild guys. He's the highest level competitor. He's the most well-trained guy that I've fought to this point. But I think his jiu-jitsu game obviously is his most dangerous point. But I've been doing jiu-jitsu for a long, long time. And I've got 4 submissions to my record as well. So I think it's really strategy. I don't think he'll be able to implement that submission game unless I make a big mistake strategically. So I think that's really it. He's just a higher level competitor than what I faced before. But on the flip side of that, I've been able to train for this fight like I've never been able to train for any other fight. So I don't really feel that'll be a determining factor. I think experience and strategy are going to be the biggest factors in this fight.
Now, why were you able to train better for this fight than any one of your other fights?
Well, before I was working full time. I have 2 kids. I was married at the time, so I just was not able, and I was also considered the head coach of this team Hard Drive MMA that I helped kind of build up with all my teammates. And they looked at me for guidance, and I felt it really, really hard to balance a head coaching role and a competitive role. So I competed every once in a while. I was kind of inactive for, a couple stretches of 1 or 2 years, but I wanted to prove to my team that I was a credible source of information, but at the same time, I took competition serious enough that when I did compete, I had no time to do anything else, and it was a big burden on my family and my head really. And so now I left my job in May of 2013, and I started coaching full time, and we opened up a gym, and we've got a better training facility. And when I started being able to train full time, and I had the opportunity to train like a real professional athlete, like I really wanted to, that's when I started asking myself questions about my own legacy and whether I had accomplished, all that I really would be proud of when I was older. So that's really what's motivating me and driving me now.
Well, Kieran, thanks for coming on here for a couple minutes with MMA Oddsbreaker. Good luck against Brian Ortega, and we'll talk to you soon, bud.
No problem. Thanks so much, Frank. Have a good one.